Morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have Myron in the house, and he's our owner of care homes, which is something I was considering doing, but people told me not to because of my nature. But we shall soon find out if I should be able to do it or not. But Myron, nice to have you here today.
Yeah, nice to be here. Nice to meet you.
So first of all, what kind of person were you when you were at school?
At school, I was a fairly good student. Had fairly good grades. Didn't get into too much trouble. Yeah, kind of generally a good student, and generally quite kept myself to myself. Had my group of friends, just normal.
Okay. Did you ever see yourself owning care homes?
When I was younger, yeah. Well, I saw myself always in business. I never really saw myself working for too long for somebody else, I guess.
Okay, that's good. And what was the education route that you took?
So I did, standard GCSEs, went to college after that, went to university, did a degree, and then did a master's degree. Okay. So master's degree was in cognitive psychology or user interface design, so more around the computing side of things, so designing computer systems and interfaces for people. Understanding how the human brain works, that kind of thing, but not really to do with psychology. So.
Okay, that sounds like some Elon Musk kind of thing when you say cognitive psychology.
I don't think so. It's more around like how the human brain works in response to computer inputs and designing computer systems for people.
Did you ever work in that industry?
Not really. So I did do a little bit of. I have had my own company, software development company, where I've developed software, and I did do lots of little interface design things for a previous company that I worked for, but yeah, not directly in that industry.
So when you did the software development company stuff, how old were you?
Maybe 35, something like that, 36 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, when I started my own software development company. So it was alongside what I'm doing now. So I did the software development stuff, had a company in Berlin and called GUI, and we were doing management systems for care homes. Mm-hmm. So it was software designed for the care industry, really. So I had already started working within the care industry at that point. I already had the care home established, and this was a kind of offshoot to kind of develop something to modernize how care was delivered and how the systems were managed, how patient records were kept, basically, because it was all done on paper. Mostly it's still all done on paper and filing cabinets. So it was a piece of software that brought everything up to date.
You sound very English, but you said you live in Marbella. Yeah. And obviously you've done time in Germany.
Yeah.
Where are you born in England?
No, I was born in Ghana.
Oh,
so I'm Ghanaian. Yeah,
Ghanaian. Okay.
Yeah.
And you've just seen you guys are very entrepreneurial.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
about that.
You are. I'm not talking about the young generation, but the older ones. Yeah, I find. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So you started being entrepreneurial at the age of 35.
No, probably before then. So probably around about 30. So while I was working in a company, then we were working on the care home stuff and the care business and other businesses. So I've always tried to do little businesses. I've always tried to invest in things. So I've been entrepreneurial for a long time, but not everything works, not everything sticks. That's just how it is. Some things you're successful in, some things you're not successful in. So that's just a lesson you learn as you go through, kind of thing.
Okay. So how did you end up doing the care home business?
So the care home business started a long time ago, where my mum and dad started doing much smaller care homes. And then at some point we kind of decided to buy a much larger business. And then I was always helping him with that, helping my mum with it mainly. And then eventually I kind of just took over and then started managing that, getting new contracts, expanding. So it was more of started small as a family business, and then I kind of took over at the age of about 30, 32, something like that.
Are you an only child?
I am, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Only child, no brothers and sisters, no fights.
And your parents are Ghanaian?
Yeah.
That's rare, isn't it?
I don't know. Don't know if it's that rare. I think
Okay.
it's, fairly normal in some instances.
Okay, well, fair enough. So, what have you learned about this business that you wish you knew when you started?
What have I learned that I wish I knew when I started? I guess, interesting question. I guess it's more about building capacity and building up, staff teams and things like that. So the major things that I learned along the way were about, staff retention, how important that was, how important it was to pay your staff well, keep them on board, give them the proper training, make sure that they stay with you for a long time, and make sure that they're happy in their jobs and then they know what they're doing, because that's one of the major challenges we're facing today. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's lots of things, but I guess the main ones would be about just how you go about managing that business. It was something that you kind of have to learn as you go along, and it's the same with every business, I guess.
So you said there's lots of things, but how do you said you spoke about obviously paying them well and those kind of things, but you kind of hinted that you still have those issues today.
Well, I think we have generally the care and the healthcare sector has lots of staffing issues at the moment, partly because of the factors that have happened over the last 4 or 5 years, and the fact that we're not in Europe anymore, we don't have access to that staff pool. So it's a real struggle to get workers, to get people who want to work in that sector. So that's one of the biggest issues we're facing as an industry, and I think all care homes and services are facing that at the moment, especially the NHS.
So what does the future hold for you?
Well, more expansion, more work in software as well. So more software development, more other business opportunities mainly. So I'm not in London all the time. I'm just here for short visits when I need to be. And yeah, basically that's it. Coming back here, expanding the business, mainly living back in Marbella. So
that's nice. So you have a nice life then.
Yeah.
Look at him smile.
I'm not.
Look at that smile.
I'm not. Yeah, it's not so bad.
On the development app side of things, I was interviewing a lady the other day. She's an ex-copper. She wasn't happy with the police because she said 95% of their time is paperwork. And I said to her, why don't they have a system, an app or something where, let's say they've arrested somebody and their person's going away in a van or whatever, and they just do like a vlog. So you press your fingerprint, to verify it's you. You do your, today, such and such a time, blah, blah, blah. Joe blogged, you showed that person's face, blah, blah, did this, I said this, he said that, blah, 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 blah. Send, and it goes to the National Computer Database and it's saved. It makes the paperwork thing a lot easier. I think that should be done in form of an app. Do you think that would be a good idea? Maybe this is the design will make you a billionaire.
Maybe it's a good idea, yeah. I mean, it's all about whether or not... A lot of the one thing I've learned, again, about computing and about apps and everything like that is it's not really about whether it's a good idea or whether the app is great. It's about whether you can get the people who are using it to actually use it as and accept it, and whether they want it. Because if you say, you've got a great idea, you've got a great app, you pose it to the police, they're very set in their ways of doing things, and it's not just them who you have to consider. There's also requirements about, well, if you're recording somebody, do you have to inform them? Do you have to have their consent? Is it admissible as evidence in court? Will the court accept it? So there's a whole lot of other challenges that you would have to look at before you would embark on something like that, in any type of app as well. You just have to look at the whole framework. If this is a legal document, am I allowed to use it in court? If I use it as, does it count, or do they want me to fill in form X, Y, or 124, whatever,
Yeah, the whole concept would have been that it was to replace them doing paperwork as police, not for the public. So it's
Sure.
police documentation. But I hear what you're saying. I do. Going back to the care home, what would be your advice to somebody who's considering starting a care home?
I think it would be that it's a good idea. There's lots of need at the moment. Understand, the framework that you have to work within, the regulatory framework. Understand the laws. It depends on what type of care you want to provide, but try to understand those particular conditions very well, and what you need to do. to make sure that your service users are kind of well looked after by your staff team and by the management, and then and then keep your eyes on the business side of things as well. So it is about providing great care and everything, but if you're not making money as a business, you won't be able to provide that care anyway. So
Okay. Is there anything that you would do different?
What, at the moment, or
just in general?
In general, yeah. I mean, I guess the changes that I've made within my business have been fairly extensive. We're probably quite different from the standard care home in how we do things, but yeah, I guess there's always room for improvement. So yeah, I'm sure there's lots of things I would do different. I can't think of exactly what that is right now, but yeah, there's definitely improvements that can be made.
Going forth, do you need a lot of money to set up a care home?
Yes and no. There are lots of government regulations that you would need to stick to. That yes, they cost money, and you need to hire a staff team. You need to be able to pay that staff team until you've eventually got enough money to be able to sustain that business. So you don't need a huge amount of money, but you would definitely need some level of investment that was significant. So, yeah.
Offhead, what would you say someone needs?
If you've got the house already, maybe if you've got the building already, maybe you could get away with something like 20, 30, 40,000 pounds for the initial kind of setup. Given that you may not have clients for a while, you might need a bit more to pay staff, to recruit a manager to do all those things. But obviously, if you haven't got the building, or you have a building that needs to be renovated or that needs to be built, then you have to factor in the building costs. So that's where you would need a larger amount of money if you didn't have the building, for example.
My last question to you is: if the world is standing in front of you, 7.5 billion people, no pressure, and they were asking you, they wanted one sentence of you about how words of wisdom based on your life experience so far, what would that be?
I would say always expect the unexpected. I think that would be those would be my words of wisdom. Don't think everything is going to be as it is or as it was. Always expect things to change, and be ready for that.
I like that. Well, thanks a lot for... what's the name of your care home?
It's called Beecholme Adult Care. Beecholme Adult Care.
Beecholme.
Beecholme. So BEECHOLME Adult Care.
Adult Care.
Yeah, and our website is beechhomeadultcare.co.uk.
And you're on Instagram and all of that?
We're on Instagram, on Facebook, we're on everything.
And it's just that name throughout everything?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that, and we wish you well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, bye-bye.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day, as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.